How does it sound? Recording! Okay. So it's been a while. Hello, hello, hello. My beautiful darlings. Today, we're doing a kind of knit-along type thing, except I won't be knitting. I'm going to be weaving in ends, which I don't like doing. Sorry, just need to move you guys back a bit. Oh, there's the mic, you didn't see that. Oh. Ah. Okay, that's a bit better. My sister and I are doing a photo shoot this weekend for the handmade clothing business that we're starting, which I wanted to tell you guys about. So I really need to weave in these ends for it. Tripod slipping again. And I don't want to, but I'm gonna do it and talk to you guys while I do it, like a body doubling brain hack. And I can show you some of the items that I'm planning to sell while I get them ready. So this one is 2 pieces. It's like a little sleeve that ties on there with that ribbon and a 1-shoulder crop top that laces up at the back with the ribbons. I was fortunate enough to find the correct colour ribbon op shopping, which was yeah, a really I suppose a dopamine hit. And as you can see, like, I broke my little toy knitting machine that I used to make this. So one of the needles, yeah, I broke the top of the hook off. And so this one needle doesn't knit, but I really like the ladder stitch anyway, so it's a cool ladder stitch detail that is going to appear in the same spot. I've used that same machine on other garments and then gone through and crocheted the stitches back up, like I did with this Neon Pink Beauty. With this one, I need to adjust one of the sleeves because it's way longer than the other, as you can see, so that's another bit of work to do. So I crocheted that stitch back up, but this one I left it in. And then on the sleeve, there's the main ladder stitch detail, but then another little one there where I dropped a stitch. Okay, so I will weave in the ends of this one. I don't know what is up with this tripod, It's just decided to not work for me today. So my sister and I are starting a handmade clothing business. She is more the sewer, whereas I'm more the knitter. And we're currently teaching each other more about knitting and sewing, respectively. She has a fashion design degree and a sustainable business degree, which is a really good compliment to me and my skills. And we used to have an online shop called Totem Monster when we were teenagers. It's still on Facebook, like you can still find the Facebook page. And we had we were upcycling stuff from op shops. Like one of my mates still has this denim jacket that we found. I think that the quilting in it had matted or something, so I stripped out the lining, or like gutted out I did something weird with the lining, I can't remember, but we also put studs on it. There was that, and we would like rip up denim shorts and stuff, classic 2000s shit, fabric paint and Union Jack patches on shorts and crosses and rips. Like, I got really good at distressing jeans. And that was Totem Monster. And reason we called it Totem Monster is when we were growing up, I was always Taylor Toad and she was Millie Monster. I think it was our pop who gave us those names. And now we're both in a position, like 10 years later, to revive Totem Monster. So, why is this being annoying? So that's what we're doing. We're reviving Totem Monster. We're going to try to use as sustainable materials as possible. So either like natural wool fibers for my stuff. Oh, sorry, just natural wool fibers or plant fibers, preferably hemp, linen, organic cotton, silk. Yeah, trying to use sustainable fibers or second-hand or upcycled stuff. So she's made these really cute little baby doll tops out of second-hand textiles. Just watching this stand slowly sink into itself. Yeah, so she'll do more of like the sewing side of things. I've got, or at least we will be for this first drop that we're doing this month. Okay, well I'm just gonna leave the stand now. It's still sinking. So infuriating. What was I saying? So yeah. So I have a lot of knitwear that I've been working on over the last few months that I'm going to be putting in this first drop. And this weekend we're going to take some cute photos too. Yeah, and aiming to get the first drop released this month. I'm wearing the For You tie top. I recently released this pattern. It's available on Ravelry. And you can get like multiple tops out of the one pattern. So this version here is the first version I made, and it's good as like overshirts, or if I wanted to wear it by itself I would put like a little brooch or something there. But then there's alterations of this version where like the panels are crossed over, so that style is a lot easier to wear without a top underneath. But I really do like having it over top of a shirt as a transitional season piece. Like it's autumn at the moment in New Zealand, and it kind of works like a vest because it's keeping my core warm. Like this is 100% wool, but I'm not overheated, and the shirt is kind of like a wind barrier. Because I also like wearing woolen bras. Like I made the shell bra in a possum merino silk blend from Celana, and that's like so nice to wear. But I would wear that in winter where I know I'm going to be cold all day, whereas with autumn, like I might want to take this layer off. And so then having the shirt underneath is, yeah, it kind of functions like a vest. And I also like having, yeah, this kind of woolen crop top, because it's it's a subversive basic, really, because you can use it to build up a top from separate components. So you've got this, and then like a set of sleeves, which are like, yeah, separated again. And then if you have a high-waisted skirt, or even like a separate collar, it's very much reimagining the many-faceted way of dressing that was typical of like the Victorian era, where they'd have so many different layers and pieces that would make up the top. And I like bringing that kind of complexity and detail back into fashion. Like, I recently saw this post on Instagram about the loss of detail in everything from park benches to bridge railings to lampposts. Like, if you imagine, in New Zealand we have villa houses that were probably built the late 1800s, early 1900s, that have this very ornate, I don't know what it's called, but it goes underneath the eaves on the outside of the building, and it looks like icing. Like the very intricate designs. If someone knows what that's called, please comment below. But then you look at that type of detail, and then you compare it to a brand new apartment block, and how detail has been lost in that way. The post also had options or examples of like a doorbell, or I don't know, a set of keys, like, and I really like that about the online knitting community, is this, the online handmade clothing community, I think, or handmade fashion, is that there is more attention to detail, and we're trying to, I don't think intentionally, but that, like, this is the way things are going, is appreciating those small details and including those details that are or would be considered mistakes. Because I think, like, for instance, the dropped stitch from my broken knitting machine, I'm leaving that in there on purpose. And I think that's a good approach for all things with art, right? Is choosing when to just leave the mistakes in. Quote Bob Ross, happy accidents? Is that what he says with painting? "15 minutes in and I've weaved in one end." Yay! What I've started doing now, when it comes to weaving in ends, hello Moomins, is weaving in as I go. So if you've done feral knitting before, colour work, and you might therefore know about like carrying floats, and that same technique can be used to weave in your ends as you go. Like, you'll have your working yarn and you'll have the tail end, like a loose end that you need to weave in, and you put that loose end over top of your working yarn, so that when you work your next stitch it'll catch that thread that needs to be woven in. Oh yeah, so the For You tie top, was so much fun to put together as a pattern. It was so much fun working with my testers, who was so crucial for helping me like figure out the pattern. And that's because I've tried to do a different type of approach to sizing. So I don't know how to grade patterns, so I didn't do that. And instead, it's the For You tie top is for you. It's made according to your measurements. So you do have to measure your body to do this, and therefore you will get a to-fit top. So as well as the options to have the cross panels, you can also add like little ties or an I-cord to do up the top like this, or a brooch if you want. You can also do lacing, like lace all the way up here. And there's different ways to do the back. So I've made adjustable straps on this one. I think it's twisted, but just little loops. And then it ties there, and there's also an option to do a halter neck. So probably the one I wear more in summer, I made from a bamboo and cotton blend with 3 different tones of brown, for 1 tone for the panel, for each panel, and then for the band. And so it has cross panels, so it's easier to wear on its own. And yeah, it's a halter neck, and it ties at the back. And because it's a cotton and bamboo blend, it's very nice to wear next to skin. Where did I put my needle? Oh, there it is. So this yarn is hand spun yarn by Leo in Loft. If memory serves, it is like a merino silk and something else blend. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm gonna list this under mermaid core because I don't know if you can get more mermaid core than this. You'll have to see it on. Hello, mamas. Hello. Come here. She loves the butt pats. Little lady. You can see me, I suppose. I'm trying to get Momo in the frame as well. hope you can hear me alright. Okay, I think you can hear me alright. I suppose so. What if you can see my mic? Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. So I've been really enjoying using like my little toy knitting machine to make garments such as this. And I've been trying to use my linear knitting machine. It's an old Singer machine, a Memomatic 321. But I tend to have trouble with getting the tensions right and like not having rips in the finished product or in holes. Like rips and holes can look cool sometimes, but it looks kind of weird in the things I've made thus far. And maybe that could be fixed by working on them more. But I tend to go and start something new when I get to a part in a project that I like, or I get stuck or I don't like it. So then I have to trick myself into doing the bits I don't like, such as weaving in the ends. I'm talking to you guys. Oh, hello, boo-boo. It's beautiful, madam. But aside from trying to learn how to use my knitting machine, I've also learned a lot of really exciting new skills thanks to my time with my knitting club, which is one of the creative Fibre groups here in New Zealand. And thanks to the lovely ladies there, I have learnt to felt, I have learnt to weave, and I have learnt to spin yarn on both a spinning wheel and on a spindle, which is like a little transportable spinning wheel, kind of. Oh, and recently we learned about dyeing yarn with natural dyes. So I've got some yarn dyed with onion skins, some with avocado skins and pits, and one with harakeke flax seeds and pods, which is a type of flax native to New Zealand. So spinning was the first skill that I learnt of those new skills, and that means I've been able to use my own hand spun yarn in both knitting as well as in weaving. Yeah, and that's been really cool. But what I've found, so not only has it been really fulfilling attending Creative Fibre in terms of gaining all this knowledge, but also in terms of, well, the community, the camaraderie of fellow fibre artists. And it's also been really helpful for getting to borrow those resources to start learning or to have a try at these new skills, because you like going out and buying a spinning wheel, buying a weaving loom, buying all this stuff is not cheap. So I've found a great value signing up to be a member, paying the membership fee, and getting all of these benefits that are so worth it. Like access to their library, which is just full of all these fantastic fibre arts books. They've even just recently purchased for the library 52 weeks of shawls or scarves, I think shawls, which I really want to rent out at some point. But there's also an equipment cupboard where you can loan out equipment. So I've also tried blending my own fibres together, so I've borrowed the drum carder, which I should probably actually return. I've had it for a while now, so I need to add blending fibres on my list of things to do. Blend up the last of my fibres so I can give it that back. Hackles, so I've tried to process my own hemp fibres, starting with wet retting them, which is when you put them in a bucket of water and just let like the microbes that go in that water degrade a lot of this stuff that you don't want in the hemp fibre, and from there you can like use the hackles to comb it out, and from there you can spin it. So what I really like about spinning is that it gives you autonomy, so you don't have to rely on a commercial supply of yarn. You are, I feel more self-sufficient now. Like I could go into my garden, find some harakeke, harvest that flax, and I could spin something out of it. if I figured out how to process it, which I haven't done yet. But you know, it's cool that that's an option available to me now. And being able to go to the local alpaca farm, pick up an alpaca fleece, and then spin that into yarn that I can knit with. It's taking slow living to another level and keeping it as local as possible. So those things combined, I think, make it a very sustainable method of acquiring yarn. And have I made anything? I was trying to think of any of the products that I'm going to put in the drop this month are made out of my hand spun yarn. No, yes, maybe. Well, I intend to use the yarn I spin, particularly the stuff that I spin from local sources, with making some of the one-of-the-kind pieces that will be available on Totem Monster. So we're really trying to maximize the sustainability of the clothing that my sister and I produce. I think I've weaved in all the ends. I think I should put beads on the end of this. The urge to just leave it for a future tailor to deal with. Maybe I'll just snip that. Beads would look super cute on the ends of these. I might ask my sister if she's got any. That's not actually connected. Okay. I think that's done. Oh shit, sleeve came off. Okay, that one's done. I think this one I wanted to update. Oh yeah, so you can really see where I've done the German short rows and stuff for this vest. Little vest. So I was thinking of maybe going in over that with like one of these contrast colours in a zigzag stitch, making a pattern out of it. Yeah, I'm just not completely satisfied with how that looks, so go get that contrast colour. Then I've got this cute little crochet bralette. I think I should sell this one. This is actually probably one of the first things that I made when I started, well, I actually started crocheting again before I started knitting. Or maybe I keep it. Don't know. Oh, this one's cute as. Made this on the toy knitting machine. This is hand spun yarn I brought off Trade Me. Cute little crop, long sleeves. I think that's a wool and silk again, or an alpaca and silk. I need to figure all that out. This one's weird, don't know what I'm doing with that. And this one just needs a few things tidied up. It's a crochet dress with a slit on the side. Oh, I can feel myself not wanting to do this. Okay. Do it, Taylor. Do it. Be back. So what I found really cool about weaving, and about felting as well, is that you can then use that fabric that you've created and sew it into anything you want. And particularly with felting, because it's faster than weaving, you can get to a garment quite fast. The capitalist in me. Productivity over everything. Don't get me wrong, I love a good slow knit. I mean, I was just saying about going as slow as to spin the yarns that I then work with. But sometimes I just want to like smash out a whole bunch of stuff and just keep up with like my desire to make new things and to execute ideas as soon as I have them. So I am getting frustrated with the knitting machine because I still have yet to get all my tensions right and figure out if I'm doing anything wrong. But I think once I get a better handle on it, on using the knitting machine, then I'll really be able to just smash out a whole lot of stuff. And some of that, and that's why I really like the toy knitting machine, is because I think because of the simpler way that it is, I can easily I can work creatively with those restrictions. Oops. And make things like this with the tube, or make panels, or make little gloves. But I will say, I have had some success with the linear knitting machine. Like, I made this. Which is in a cotton and linen blend, like 2 yarns held together. And I love that I can make something so fine and delicate without having to knit it. Because imagine knitting a whole jumper on like, this would be less than 2.5mm needles, I swear. I just don't have the patience or the time for that. I want to reserve my knitting for less monotonous, long, big projects. So I'm glad that I did get a knitting machine that does very fine yarns, because I wouldn't be knitting this anyway. Whereas if I got a bulky machine, like, I do enjoy doing a bulky hand knit every now and then, or yeah, like DK and above is usually my go-to. When it comes to making stuff that I'm going to sell. Whereas if it's stuff for like myself or for family, then I might take the time and use like smaller needles for larger things. But if I'm just trying to make something and I don't want it to be horrendously expensive because I've spent so many hours making it, then yeah, either I knit it by hand with pretty big needles, or I knit it with a machine and then knit by hand as I need to from there. And I don't think that using a knitting machine is cheating in any way. It's an entire different art form in itself, and simply because it is mechanized and faster doesn't discredit the value that it has as a form of fibre art. Like, because something was sewn using a sewing machine doesn't discredit the fact that it's still a handmade garment. Like, you don't see people going like, oh, you didn't hand sew that. I'm just convincing myself here. I don't know what I'm embroidering on here. Just adding some yarn. It's like a really poor attempt at duplicate stitch. Does make it look kind of cool. Another thing that I'm looking forward to doing, like another project that I'm intending on, is doing a handmade capsule wardrobe that I can take travelling with me. So something highly practical, all handmade, and but also without being monochromatic to a degree that makes me feel like I don't have any of my personality in the wardrobe. Because there's certain essential things that I will need, like merino leggings and a good raincoat and good boots, and all of those things I have in black. So that's obviously going to be a colour that I use. So not all the clothing will be handmade, but I'm going to fill in the gaps of what I don't have with handmade clothing. But then I've got like my bright pink look at my holes dress that I'd really want to have in that capsule wardrobe. But then that really bright pink colour, it's basically this. It's not the best suited colour for me. So I wouldn't want to have an excess of that bright pink colour in a capsule wardrobe. So maybe it's about cherry picking from my wardrobe, which and taking that same mindset which I have in my wardrobe of, if I just put all the colours in the wardrobe, then surely things will match. So doing that, but on a more curated palette, downscaled. So the places that I'm going to be travelling to will be 18 degrees and then down to 8 by the time we've finished travelling. So I'm going to need layering things. I'm gonna need like some warm stuff, but then also, yeah. I do not know how to do duplicate stitch, but this is looking kind of cool, I think. Now, I think I will take a For You tie top with me, either, maybe not this green one here, but maybe one of the other ones that I've made. Because they can also be great for going out clubbing at night when it is cold out, so that kind of 8-degree mark, if I've got a set of sleeves on and hand warmers, then those are two things that I could take off and put in my handbag. And then I've got my core warm from wearing a alpaca For You tie top underneath that. Or I can have like a coat on and then have that underneath for the colder evenings. Another thing that I really want to include in this wardrobe is long skirts. I've got one that I love wearing all the time. It's this bright blue and it goes right down to my ankles and it's really comfortable to wear, and that's something that I want to make on the knitting machine. It's a nice long skirt or so maybe, but I want to try the knitting machine first. And I'd also like to make some long flare pants on the knitting machine. That'd be cool. I just need to get over my frustration and be patient and cast on correctly and set the tensions correctly and take my time and do it properly. And then maybe it'll work. I was also thinking about I might take this hat because it's wool. I bought this from an op shop for $5. It's 100% wool. And I love wearing it right now because it's keeping my head warm like a beanie, but I've also got my sun protection. Although I'm not sure if I would, because, well, I can put it in my suitcase if I stuff it full of things. I'm just thinking about it deforming in a suitcase, but that's just if I pack it like an idiot. Which could still happen, but anyway. So alongside the hat, as headwear, I also want to make like a warm headband, and I want to hand knit myself a headband to wear and to keep my ears warm without, because I have to have my hair down to wear this, or if I was to wear a beanie, and I quite like to wear a high ponytail a lot of the time, or my hair up in a bun, so having a headband would be a good way to still keep my ears warm whilst allowing for that. Another thing that I'm really into is headscarves, and I'm thinking I'm going to make a shawl that I could double up as a headscarf. I was looking at some photos recently of like 1950s woman with the silk hair scarves and the big glasses on. That's a vibe. So if I can, I really want to make a shawl that could do that, but more importantly would act as a scarf or a blanket on planes. I'm also going to need like a very versatile jersey, and all the jerseys that I've hand knitted for myself have something that about them that irks me, that makes me think I wouldn't want to wear it for being away for an extended period of time, because I don't want to take too many different jerseys because of their bulk, and because I'm going to be knitting for myself while I'm over there traveling. So I definitely want to make sure that I leave room for the things that I create to fit in my suitcase. I think I'll also need some gloves. I did have some merino full finger gloves, but I've lost one of them, which is super annoying. I've got handmade fingerless gloves that I crocheted, but they're made with a synthetic, like a partially synthetic fibre, and I actually don't like having it next to skin. So some gloves might be on the cards. What else? Oh, I really like stuff that I can move very freely in, and I do a lot of yoga, and it's easier for me to do the yoga if I'm already wearing clothes that you can do yoga in. And because I intend to travel with a yoga mat, so that I can make sure that I don't go crazy and thus maintain my yoga practice while I'm traveling, I want to make sure that I'm taking some clothes that I could easily roll onto a yoga mat in. So long sleeve warm tops, kind of like in this style. Like this is a raglan style, which gives more movement, freedom of movement for the arms. So that would be something I'd do on the Singer knitting machine. It's like a long sleeve, basic raglan, very finely knit top. Oh, and leg warmers. I want some leg warmers. I have been, well, actually, what I need to do is experiment on my little toy knitting machine and try to make some leg warmers on that. And I think I'd do the cute little bows to hold them up, but only as optional. Like, you could take the bows out and just have them baggy instead. I've also seen some really cool ones on Pinterest where it's like they add stitches so it flares out over the shoe and it's like a tighter knit at the top of the calf. Or I can do lace up. Lace up. No, I want to do lace up leg warmers. I think I might have to do one of all of these. Like some nice baggy ones, but then some like ones that lace up the back, kind of like a corset for your calves. Yeah. I'm trying to make a jacket for my friend who finds it hard to find clothes to fit him. He's like 6'4" and a size 6 extra large, or like 4 extra large to 6 extra large, and I thought like, oh, I can just sew him something based on a top of his, completely underestimating my recollection or my sewing skills. So I've tried to make him a jacket. I haven't got the fit right. So I am trying to improve my sewing skills by doing some patterns. So I can get good enough to make a men's jacket with a self-drafted pattern. Like, I have to gain a lot of skills in order to complete this project. As such, I've made a skirt out of some op shop material, and it's in this nice purple, kind of like, think Daphne from Scooby-Doo purple. And I used like a little, one of the buttons I purchased from an antique shop. It's white with black circles. I think it's super cute. And I'm going to put that on Totem Monster. And yeah, I'm not sure. I might use that pattern to make myself like a nice big skirt, to sew myself a skirt. But since then, I've managed to actually find like a vintage men's pattern in the op shop for jackets and such. So that's going to be my next project with sewing, is to give that a go. And do... Unfortunately, that pattern does not go to the size that I need it to, so I'm going to have to practice making a jacket with the limited sizing available in that vintage pattern. And then from there, YouTube will need to teach me how to grade it up. And then hopefully then I can make a jacket that actually fits in. We'll see. Standardized sizing is bullshit and based on like non-existent commonalities between chest measurements. I watched a Mina Lee's video about it. So if you want to know what I'm really poorly referring to, go check out her video on like standardized sizing. It was very informative. Just made me realize how stupid existing ways of dressing people are. Like, yeah. All bodies are so different. And that should be celebrated, not like enforced uniformity. Oh, and now we're back on the topic of the loss of detail in social spaces. What does that even look like? Kind of weird. That's cool though. What else? Just thinking about what I'd want to put in that wardrobe. Oh, I want to hand make myself some socks. I haven't done that yet. I want to make the Silver Night socks, and I want to make them knee-high. That could be quite a good project to have on the go there, but it is lace, so yeah, do I just want like stockinette project to start off while we're traveling? Don't know. And I think that's it for now. I'm hoping that I follow through and actually like record this building of the capsule wardrobe. I've still got more weaving in of ends to do, but I'll let you guys go and please continue the as to now one-sided conversation in the comments below. And hopefully I'll have some photos of all of these new makes out soon. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with me. I got some stuff done, so I appreciate you for helping me with that. Look after yourself, stay safe. See you next time. Bye.